Call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Garrick?
Here.
Pepcorn?
Here.
Preston?
Here.
Strand?
Here.
Mahoney?
Here. The fire department hosted an advanced rope rescue class last week. An experienced team of instructors from North Carolina led the training. Firefighters from Fargo, Grand Forks, Bismarck, Minot attended a 5-day class of various locations throughout the city. The Fargo Dome and multiple bridge and water tower locations were used to create this realistic training and rescue scenarios. This training provided unique opportunities for rescue workers to hone their skills and was a great opportunity to work with the firefighters from other departments around the state to exchange ideas and experience. Chief Dirksen was going to do a rappel down the walls here, but apparently he didn't bring his equipment. Thanks, Chief. National Nurses Week is May 6th through the 11th. The Fargo Cask Public Health Nursing Team has been heavily involved in the COVID-19 response, most recently with a vaccination operation. In addition, the nurses continue to care and serve residents through a number of programs, including family planning clinic, maternal and child health, school nursing, and correction health. I think we should give them a round of applause. The Fargo Public Library, in partnership with the Park District and Park District Foundation and the Growing Together Community Garden Organization, recently installed a library learning garden and pollinator garden near Carlson Library. Volunteers installed 3 garden beds near the northwest corner of the library, along with a pollinator garden near the south side of the library, and Ed Clapp Senior Center. Intended to serve as a starting point for the community education garden space, a series of related educational programs and events for all ages will be hosted throughout late spring, summer, and fall at the site. The library was awarded a $1,930 matching grant from the Fargo Park District Foundation to support this project. The library's outdoor exemplary story walk continues on the plaza near the Sodbuster statue in May's featured book, What Does Bunny See? By Linda Sue Park. The Solid Waste Department is preparing for Cleanup Week to be held the first 2 weeks of May and started today. Beginning today through the week of May 14th, residents may place unwanted debris for disposal on the boulevard in front of their properties to be disposed by the city. Debris will be picked up on the residents' scheduled recycling day. Week B will be collected in the week of May 3rd, and Week A will be collected in the week of May 10th. A collection schedule map is available at www.fargomd.gov. Over the past year, the Fargo community suffered a tragic loss of 2 students by suicide. In response, the Fargo Police Department Community Engagement Team wanted to help to prevent further tragedies like these from happening, and creating a free video resource for local public and private schools and community members that focus on prevention and education of suicide. Here is the video that starts this off.
Many of us have a lot of hard questions around mental health that never get answered. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for individuals between the ages of 10 and 34.
If I go through something, I used to just tell myself, all right, it's good, like everything will be good. Like I just brushed it off.
My sister Katie was my best friend. It was really shocking.
Kids like that can fall through the cracks. The pressures that they have might be silent pressures.
This is Break the Silence, a film made by the Fargo Police Department.
Chief, do you want to make a comment on it?
Just real quick, good evening, Commissioners. I'm going to turn this over real quick to Lieutenant Bill Alfelt and Sergeant Christy Jacobson, who along with our school resource officer team did all of the heavy lifting on putting this project together. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chief.
Commissioners, thank you. Yeah, this is a project that started out, as most of you remember, we have done school assemblies over the past couple of years as our community engagement team, including our SROs and our community trust officers. With COVID in 2020, we weren't able to do any of those assemblies. Those assemblies, we reach out sometimes between 7,000 and 9,000 kids in our area. We use the monies from that, trying to figure out a way where we could reach out to those kids, trying to find something that would have some impact in our community the same way that the messages sent in those school assemblies would. We couldn't think of anything better, especially during COVID with numbers of suicide, especially amongst teens, increasing, than to have basically a message that we give at an assembly on a video. And so we used to put a 22 minute, 59-second video that's going to be distributed to all of our metro area schools, not just within the city of Fargo, but with Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, and it'll be available to the public. We did this partnership with multiple entities, which you saw on the screen here, but it's a very great collaboration, which I think is be very beneficial for our community, and really want to help kids and make sure they're not affected by this too much. See where we can help for that. So, Christy, I don't know if I missed anything.
Sure. The video consists of 3 different families that were drastically impacted by suicide. And then we also provide 3 different entities within our community when it comes to services that are provided to individuals who are struggling with the impact of suicide or suicide ideation. And so we're going to be providing this at no cost to any organization, not just our schools within the region, but any organization that wants to utilize it in any capacity. And we're going to do our final launch of that coming up very soon.
Very good. Looks very good. We'll be looking forward to see it on Thursday. Or no, next Monday, I'm sorry. May is the National Drinking Water Month and a celebration of the value of something we use and take for granted every day. As summer approaches, make sure to stay hydrated a top priority. And remember, Fargo is a regional leader for water. Right, Tony? Lowe's has donated PPE equipment to the city. Our buildings and grounds picked that up today, picked up the supplies. It was a generous donation to us to help us with hand sanitizers and other equipment we still utilize with the COVID-19 protection. Now tonight we want to do something. We want to say thank you and happy retirement. And actually Ray started his retirement this morning. And you can see he got a haircut just for tonight's meeting. Ray has worked for the city of Fargo for more than 51 years, and the team Fargo wishes you all the best in your well-deserved retirement. Therefore, we made a video to embarrass you a little bit.
When I got out of the service, the first thing I did was buy a brand new car, and I realized I had car payments coming, so I had to find a job. My uncle was a fireman at the time, so he said, come down to Fargo, he said, and I'll take you to City Hall and see if there's any jobs available. This is the job, and I've been at it for 51 years. And when I started working here, you knew just about all the other city employees and the policemen, and now there's 1,900 employees. This was a pretty small facility when I started, and right now we're in the middle of a $140 million expansion that'll probably take 3 years to finish. I've always liked my job, and there's been a different challenge about every day. I think that's what makes it interesting. Do something that interests you, something that you can get up in the morning and want to go to work to do. Time does go fast, and I'll miss the people, that's for sure.
Ray, can you come up here, please? Mayors are always looking for standing ovations, but I think we're going to get you one here too, eh? So Ray Peterson, Utility Supervisor, in appreciation of over 51 years of dedicated service to the city of Fargo, we thank you.
Thank you.
You want to say any words?
No, it's been a good run. It was time to quit.
You're very welcome. I think Grubb's got that same idea, working for 51 years, right, Bruce? Order agenda. Is there a motion to approve the order of agenda, adding an extra item at the end of the regular agenda recommending the approval of the purchase of body-worn camera program for the police department?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the April 19, 2021 regular meeting?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 32?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Strand?
Yes.
Preston? Yes. Garrick?
Yes.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Mahoney?
Aye. Item 33 is resident comments. We will have a posting of what the rules are throughout this. And just want to remember that discriminatory inflammatory language will not be tolerated. And if we hear some of that, you maybe have your mic shut off. This was originally an option for us to get some input from our residents. And I just want to remind you, 2.5 minutes, and try to follow the rules of how the discussion should be held. First up, we have Peter Teft. Other podium, Peter? This one over here.
This mic fine? Greetings, City Commission, members of the community, and media. A month ago, a gentleman in a wig and lipstick, while discussing the issue of transgenderism, referred to white people as white trash. Just one video of this is nearing 100,000 views on YouTube, probably even more on platforms I'm not allowed on, and from what I understand, it sparked some outrage at the last City Commission meeting. After the white-presenting man was through, a member of the council felt the need to apologize on behalf of the council to the transgender community for his inflammatory comments, but neglected to apologize to the white community. I'm here today to urge the council to, 1, also make an apology to the white community for the specific anti-white slur that was previously heard and never addressed. 2, condemn all anti-white implicit bias and hate speech. 3, condemn recent media hoaxes such as the phony White Lives Matter rally and others. And 4, I understand the commission is considering a public oversight committee of the Fargo Police Department, so I respectfully ask such a committee have a pro-white representative on it. As we see now, even white-presenting folks, such as the gentleman from a month ago, can hold anti-white beliefs and biases. I was attacked downtown here the day of the Fargo riots for my race on camera, along with many other people, and from what I understand, under federal orders, local police did nothing, so I and most others know what it's like not to feel safe here. A national standard doesn't keep people safe, as that's what we have now under the ADL, which is recognized as the nation's top non-governmental law enforcement training organization. Our police chief isn't even from here, but says there's racism in our department, but he won't name names. They're not doing a good job, and frankly, they're scaring members of our own local community with warnings of fake levels of violence and phantom rallies. Even the ADL's own data shows white terrorism is a virtual non-problem compared to other groups. Most of the Fargo certainly didn't feel the need to go out and counter any White Lives Matter rally, media hoax, or otherwise, but now we know who would, and that they're allowed to violently block traffic and hurl slurs at bystanders, even while on film in front of police. Keeping policing local and democratic is our best bet, but only if everyone has equal representation. Community policing. I want to thank the council for allowing this much needed discussion on race and implicit anti-white bias in government, but a genuine apology for allowing someone to refer to whites as white trash should be the first step to restore the good faith that has been lost in this community of the City Commission and other local institutions. Thank you again for your careful consideration.
Christopher Cohn.
So a couple times when I've been here before, and I've watched videos at the beginning of these meetings regarding the city being a highly transparent organization. However, I find quite the opposite in some of my interactions with the city. Now, some of you know that I put in periodic open records requests, and one of the most recent ones was a March 23rd request for other open records requests that have been made, including the requests and essentially the cover letters of the responses of those requests from the director of the city communications department. I asked to hear a response within 10 business days, which is reasonable. I didn't hear anything back from the director, Greg Shielberger, for 28 business days. He told me, by the way, these open records requests should be on the Department of Communications computers. They should be probably in a folder labeled open records requests. That's where I keep mine on my computer. It's in a Fargo folder. Within that, it's in a communications department folder. Within that, it's in an open records request folder. He now tells me that the only way they can search for these requests would be by looking through the city's email servers, and that they would have to look through all of the emails to him and from him from September 1st through March 23rd, and that would be a total of over 24,000 emails, and that would take 6 minutes each to look through each one of those. And I'll have to put down $60,000, $757.50 to get the search going in advance. Okay, so that's an obvious roadblock. Obviously, I'm not going to put down that kind of money. And what the city is trying to do is trying to get around and evade the open records law. Now, the city's not entitled to do that. The legislature is the one who has that power in the state. They decide on whether the residents of Fargo have the right to see those documents. Thank you.
Brandon Kruger.
Good evening. Commissioners, thank you for seeing me today. I want to address the American Rescue Plan funds that will be receiving before May 10th or have already received. I would agree with Commissioner Strand that hearing from those not at the table was wise. I think several ideas that were passed around, such as paying back debt on projects or looking at projects that need to be funded, were great ideas as well. Another path I would like to focus on are looking at the human aspects. I believe that a portion of the ARP should be available to households, small businesses, and nonprofits per ARP guidelines. Individuals, businesses, and nonprofits should have an opportunity to file for relief based on evidence and estimated losses incurred due to the loss of employment, COVID expenses, loss of business, or loss of state funds. The federal government has provided a stimulus, but let Fargo provide more. And any amount helps and will help instill consumer confidence in Fargo and provide more spending in Fargo. With this, a Fargo investing campaign should follow where we encourage Fargoians to spend locally and feverishly in local businesses and local restaurants. Even make an event encouraging such spending. Fargo is a community that watches out for one another. Why not promote the trend? One last path of use for the funds I would like to propose would be the City Commercial Broadband Initiative. A few years ago downtown, there was an attempt for free local internet. It failed as far as I recall. I'm asking the Commission to look into it again, not just for downtown, but for all commercially zoned areas and city parks. Areas of major commercials and shopping zones like 13th, 32nd, and parks like Island Park and others. As a VA teacher, COVID taught me that quality internet is a necessity not just for in-home, but also out of the house as well. Being connected and making sure every person has access to the internet to function in today's digital world. Fargo is one of the most forward-thinking cities in North Dakota, and why not take another step towards being more of a diamond in the rough, and continue to put Fargo on the map as one of the top places to live to raise a family. Thank you.
Wes Filame.
I'd like to start by saying, long live George Floyd. Over the past year, as we approach a year since the murder of George Floyd, I've consistently been reflecting on the time that has passed and whether the time and energy that I've, committed has been worth it. It's been clearly documented, the disconnect between the city and those calling for change in the community. My relationship with the mayor and our disconnect has also been just as equally documented. I've been very critical of you during that time. I'm a firm believer that when you critique someone for doing something wrong, you got to give them equal praise when they actually do something right. And I thank you in private, Mayor, but I want to just publicly commend you for the growth that you've shown as a leader in this community over the past year. I know that it's helped me grow a lot in myself, and for affirming Black lives. I really appreciate that, seeing that come from the city. I know a lot of marginalized people have as well. I've been equally critical of the Fargo Police Department as well. And I disagree with what someone said earlier. Chief Zabalski, who I now nickname Chief Z, is a great leader. I've studied him. I watched him through the selection process. I've communicated with him since that time, and I truly feel in my heart that Chief Zabalski is the right man for the job in leading our police department forward. He's showing the candid conversations that the chief can have and acknowledging deficiencies and addressing them in a way that is clear and transparent and moving forward is truly appreciated. I think that our community is going to truly start to see the fruits of what he is creating there. And it truly is thanks to you as well, Mayor. I just want to make sure you know publicly, because you get a lot of flack for your mess ups, but you don't get enough praise for when you do right. So I want to publicly say thank you for all that you're doing for our community.
Thank you, Wes. That is all our speakers. Just wanted to open it up to commissioners. At one point, this was thought to be a discussion point in which we could discuss items on the agenda or different public input. Obviously, in mask issues, we had a lot of input. COVID-19, we had a lot of input. In one area around the country, a lot of times these open sessions for public dialogue is supposed to be in reference to agenda items that they may want to influence or tell commissioners what their opinion is. I'm just curious with tonight's agenda, what happened. Do you want to continue this, or do you want to change this in any manner? Commissioner Barry.
Mayor, if we do continue this, the comments need to be germane to the agenda. Anything, not everything on the agenda is public hearing, as you can see on here. So if people want to speak to that before we contemplate what we're going to do or have a vote, having public input on things that we're going to talk about on the agenda makes sense. However, what we see more often than not is things that are not on the agenda being spoken to, things that have happened a year and a half, 2 years ago, that we can't, number one, do anything about, and two, have nothing to do with the business at hand. There's a lot of business that we do here. If something's not on the agenda that you want to speak to, get on the agenda. The first time I spoke on the agenda, I was 24 years old. I bought my first home in South Fargo. I was unhappy with what the city was doing. I bought a road project. I called the executive assistant, and I got on, and it was very, very easy. I got to speak for 5 minutes, had my debate, and had myself heard. You can do the same thing. You can either call our executive assistant and get on the agenda, or you can call any one of these commissioners who have cell phones and emails, and you can get on the agenda. If there's something on here that's not, that you're upset about and you want to talk about and then debate and have an up or down vote on, call us and get put on. But open mic night is not helppful to anybody. This has become a sideshow. And we've seen that. We've become a sideshow on YouTube and other things. Whether you agree with what is being said or disagree with what's being said, it's become a sideshow. So if you want to get on the agenda, get on the agenda. Otherwise, I don't want to hear about things that have happened 2 years ago. If it's germane to the subject at hand, I'm willing to hear people. But if it's not, I'm done with this being a place that people can air their grievances with really no means to an end. So I'm making a motion that any speaker that comes on here has to be germane to the agenda. If not, they will be cut off.
Is there a second?
For the sake of discussion, I'll second it.
Discussion. Mr. Preston.
So I've been one that has been real supportive of having public comments, and I understand fully the frustration sometimes, but I have to say, this meeting, the last meeting, I came away from the public comments with some good items that we need to address, and in fact, have started to work on a few of them. So I do believe there's value in it. And if there was some way to provide a little more guidance for people, this is my comment, this is what I want the action taken, to formalize it a little bit more might be helpful. I do think that it is intimidating and probably a little difficult for a lot of people to know how to get an agenda item on. I don't believe anybody can just get an agenda item on, right? I mean, it has to come through a commissioner. Yeah, so, there may be some difficulty in getting that done for an individual. However, it would be helpful, I think, with the comments to have a little more formal kind of action request with them at times.
Commissioner Pipcorn.
So the first thing is, if you want to get on the agenda, call me and I'll get you on the agenda. It's like this. And all I do is call Kemper and Kemper puts you on the agenda. So it's very easy to do. The other thing is, I love having all these people talk because it also reveals a lot about each person that speaks. So I think a lot of people think they're getting up and speaking to a small group. A lot of people see these videos and I'm a little bit conflicted because there's a lot of people I disagree with, but when they're on here, it's a great thing because people get to see them and see what they believe. And I do think that's part of our responsibility. We're public servants to let the public speak. I do agree we might want to have a little more form to it, but on the flip side, this is who we work for, the residents of Fargo. So I do agree with Tony's points and I do agree with Commissioner Preston's points. There's a combination, but the truth is a lot is revealed by what you say. And so I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
Commissioner Strand.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm guessing that a lot of times, not a lot of times, but there are probably moments where something we say isn't very palatable to the public either. So that has to be a balance that we strike, is our speech isn't always favorable or favored by others as well. I do think we've had some moments where we've gotten a little off the rails and went off on a path that we would wonder if this is what public comment is really intended to do. On the other hand, we come back to the next meeting and we get back on track again. I think there'd be value to letting people know we'd really like to have you address topics on that agenda. If we move public comments to the end of the meeting, they won't have that opportunity. So that concerns me. My advice going forward is I'd like to see what other cities do. First of all, I don't know how they do it. I know how the school board does it, but I don't know how others do it. I'd be hesitant to make a decision right now or participate in a decision that stifles speech more because sometimes we don't like it.
Could you explain to us how a school board does it, John?
The school board has very similar to ours. They have some comments. They set some parameters. You can't attack people personally. You can't be inflammatory. You don't expect an answer or a debate or a dialogue or a discussion with your points that you're advancing. And that's about it. And it seems to work there. I think through time we'll get more of a settling in of who's got what to say, but I really respect hearing from citizens, even when I cringe. It's important we hear from the people. It's important they have a microphone. And then I think it's important once in a while we rein it in. If it's going way off on a tangent that's inflammatory and offensive, and I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to any of these things, but it's really, we have a diverse community and people's passions are theirs, and they're what they intend to address in their hearts. It's okay that they bring it to us as city leaders.
Commissioner Gary.
No one is saying we don't want to hear people speak. No one is saying that. And I've never had anyone call me and say, I tried to get on the agenda and I couldn't. I wanted to speak to you, but I couldn't because I couldn't find a way to do it. That has never happened to me in my 6-7 years while I'm here. Like I said, I was a 24-year-old kid, bought my first home, had a problem, and had absolutely no issue getting in front of this commission. If I can figure it out at that age, with knowing as much as I knew about city politics as I did then, most people can do it now. Trust me, I'm no smarter than anybody else is. What I'm saying is, if there's something that's happening that you want to talk about, get on the agenda. If it's on the agenda and you want to talk about it, then fine, we can have this open period. No one is stifling anyone's speech, but to have the same 5 people come in front of us and say the same 5 things every day, every time we're here, is not hearing from the public. It's hearing from people who want to get in the news. And there's a point to that. And I think we've all felt that, we've all seen that. And it's become a sideshow where same people are getting the same attention and there's no new conversations happening. We have not had a new conversation in a very long time with these open mic periods. If you want on the agenda, get on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, tell us you want to speak about the agenda item. It's very, very simple.
Mr. Strand.
Mayor, one recommendation I'd advance to my peers on the commission here is, I know the last meeting, I think you mentioned that several people had signed up and we didn't have enough space to accommodate them. What I'd suggest we do is, if you have more people than 30 minutes will allow at 2.5 minutes, just pare down the amount of time they get so they can speak, but they may only get a minute. Or that would be one suggestion I would put forward, is so that some get in and some don't get in and some get in, and it seems arbitrary if they're signing up.
Problem with that Wes would have been able to say nice things about me, but not nice things about the police chief, John. So I don't know if that'd work for me. Okay, we'll take a vote. Roll call.
Garrick?
Yes.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Preston?
No.
Strand?
No.
Mahoney?
No. Any other discussion? Item 34A, expression by Tia Brasseth. I'd say amendments to the 2020 Action Plan Home Investment Partnership Program.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Tia Brasseth. I'm the Planning Coordinator for the Community Development Division within our Planning Department. And this agenda item covers both a public hearing and approval of amendments to the city's 2020 HUD Action Plan, which was initially approved in January of this year. And the purpose of this amendment is to further define project locations, budgets, and specific activities related to our work with the Cask Clay Community Land Trust and Lake Agassiz Habitat for Humanity. So as some of you know, we are currently working on a weekly basis with these organizations to develop 4 new single-family homeowner units in our core neighborhoods within Fargo. And these will be developed for the first time ever using these home HUD funds. And at this time, project locations include 2 sites in the Jefferson neighborhood. And those are what are outlined in your packets. And future project locations would include 1 site in Hawthorne and 1 in Horace Mann. And 1 is currently under review for consideration in Roosevelt neighborhood. And while this amendment only covers the 2 sites in the Jefferson neighborhood, other project locations will be finalized in the coming days. And as that happens, I will be back at this podium just sharing the details of those addresses and scope. And what I mean by scope is, when we first present these activities, we're not sure whether it's going to be new construction, acquisition, demolition. And these 2 particular properties in your packet will be new construction. They're both vacant lots right now. And specific addresses and additional details of this amendment are further outlined in the enclosed public notice that's in your packet, which was published in the Fargo Forum on April 21st. So today is the last day of the public comment period, and to date, no comments have been received in our office, and our recommendation would be to approve the proposed amendments to the 2020 HUD Action Plan so we can move forward on these projects. And with that, I'd ask if there are any questions. Otherwise, we could open it up for public comment and then finish with a motion.
Do you have in your slideshow what those were? Just this is all you have?
This is all.
Oh, okay. Is there any in the public who wishes to speak to the action 2020 Action Plan Home Investment Partnerships? Anybody present who wishes to speak to that? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Strand moves it. Is there a second?
I'll second it, and then I have a quick
Preston.
question.
Commissioner Preston?
Tia, this is just more of a technical question, but we were having a conversation about how vacant lots are acquired. How were these 2 lots acquired? Who did that? Was it the city or was it Habitat? Or?
Well, the first one on here, the project site at 1529 10th Avenue, we had a pre-discussion with Lake Agassiz Habitat for Humanity, and we purchased that with our community development block grant in our 2020 action plan quite a while ago. And now they're just now preparing to build on that. The other one was received through tax forfeiture, and there was a small fee with that. And the whole intention of accepting those lots was to work with the land trust.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Strand?
Mayor, I'd just like to, for the sake of disclosure, alert the board that the commission that I'm a sitting board member of the Cask Lake Land Trust. I don't have a financial interest in it, but I am on their board.
Any other comments? Roll call vote, please.
Strand?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Garrick?
Yes.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Mahoney?
Aye. Item 34B, the Covey Ranch First Edition, approval recommended by Planning Commission on 1/5/21, continued from the 4/19/21 regular meeting. Zoning change from agricultural to public and institutional. First reading of the rezoning ordinance and a plat of the Covey Ranch First Edition. Donald Crest to explain.
Good evening, Commissioners. Donald Kress of the Department of Planning and Development. I'll be presenting the next two items. First item includes an ordinance prepared by the City Attorney's Office that is also included in your packet. As the Mayor has stated, item 34B is the Covey Ranch First Edition. The site is located down here along 64th Avenue South, which is not yet developed, between I-29 and 45th Street. You may recall this area was recently annexed. The property is zoned agricultural. The proposed zoning is PI, public and institutional. This location is the future site of the North Dakota State College of Science Career Workforce Academy, so the PI zoning is appropriate for such an educational institution. As I noted, this is undeveloped. This is a slide from a few months ago, but way down here is about, you're looking east from 45th Street on future 64th here. So this location would be about down here. The planning staff has received 2 inquiries from surrounding property owners and responded to them. There was no opposition. The applicant's representative, Andrew Ockery of Moore Engineering, is with us tonight and may wish to address the commission. That's what the plat looks like here. It creates one lot in one block along with some right-of-way dedications. And the Planning Commission's recommendation is stated in your staff report and shown on the screen. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you, Commissioners.
Is there anyone present who wishes to address the commission in regards to this rezoning? Is there anybody who wishes to address this zoning? If not, I'll close public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve, and then I have a question.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Commissioner Preston.
Donald, can you go back to the drawing with, back one, another one, that one. So I'm assuming this is fairly recent, so are we talking, how far is it between, the question is regarding leapfrogging. How far down beyond vacant land is this particular development?
Well, Commissioner, what's coming up here is, you may recall this rather large annexation we did here a couple of months ago. So this part here is going to be the Sanford, the new Sanford Fargo Park District complex that's going to be developed pretty contiguously here. There's a small strip in here.
That whole section?
Yeah, that will take much of this area here.
Okay.
And then it's platted. In fact, you'll see this plat coming up pretty soon here for this whole area here. So, and then 38th has been continued as a street all the way down here already, and we have purchased this right-of-way here for 64th and 45th. So this plat moved a little faster than the Sanford plat and got to you a little bit earlier. But so it was all annexed as a part of a single concept of development of this area.
So my question, I apologize, one more if I could.
Go ahead.
Relates to deferred assessments. There won't be any kind of deferred assessments?
Ma'am, I would have to defer to Ms. Dierig for that one,
Okay.
for her expertise.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. It depends on how you want to state it. So we will spread the assessments per policy. So for instance, there is a road on the west side of the development. Half will go to the east, half will go to the west. The west is outside city limits, therefore that assessment sits until they get annexed. So there isn't per se a deferral agreement, But because it is outside the city limits, it sits there until they do come into the city.
Okay.
And Brenda, maybe sometime during the commission of the plans in that space with Lake Fargo and all the utility issues that are in this area that you've captured. So it's really the next step, rather than leapfrogging, it's the next step in development of the city, basically.
Correct.
Any other questions or discussion? Mr. Gary?
I just want to point out I'm voting no because it's not the role of the city government to create colleges.
To create what?
Colleges. The Workforce Academy. This is by no means the responsibility of the Fargo taxpayer to fund this. And we're putting millions of dollars into this. In the future, we'll be putting in millions and millions more.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Preston?
Aye.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Garrick?
No.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. Item C, plat of LJ Laffin addition and plat of the portion of the northeast quarter of Section 7, Township 139 North, Range 48 West. It's 417 and 501 Main Avenue. Donald Crest.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 34C, as the mayor has stated, is the LJ Laffin addition. You'll probably recognize this area here along Main Avenue and Broadway. It's a vacant parking lot. This building is the Lake Agassiz Regional Development Corporation. There are several tenants in that building. The proposal here, there are 2 lots here that are just described by meets and bounds descriptions. These will be platted into lot and block descriptions here. The property is zoned DMU, downtown mixed use. No zone change is proposed. A street view here, there's a small area of dedication here that the plat will be dedicating to the city. This is looking east along Main Avenue here, and then looking west across the property here, parking lot, and just to get a street view of that situation there. There's the full plat. This plat is oriented with north at the left, so we'll turn it so it looks north at the top there. Again, 2 lots in 1 block. The applicant's representative, Matt Torgerson, Director of Development for JLG Architects, is with us this evening and may wish to address the commission. The Planning Commission's recommendation is stated in your staff report and shown on the screen. Commissioners, before you vote, please note that the motion contains a contingency that was described in your staff report. Once that contingency has been met, staff will go forward with recording the plat without having to return to your commission. And that concludes staff's presentation. Thank you, Commissioners.
Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in regards to this zoning? Anybody wanting to speak? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Preston?
Aye.
Garrick?
Yes.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item D, Renaissance Zone Project for 501 Main Avenue Development Corporation for new construction of project at 501 Main Avenue and a portion of 417 Main Avenue. Nicole Crutchfield to explain.
Following the plat application is for that same property, a Renaissance Zone application at 501 Main Avenue. And this project was unanimously supported by the Renaissance Zone Authority. What it includes is basically 1 floor below grade for parking, and then 1st and 2nd floor commercial space, and then 3 more floors with multifamily, 55 units total, with a top floor of 10 for sale condominium units. We're looking at an investment of over $21 million. Like I said, the Renaissance Zone Authority approved this project unanimously, and it is a public hearing. I believe the applicants are here if you have any questions for them as well.
Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in regards to this Renaissance Zone project? Is there anyone wishing to speak? If not, we'll close public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Commissioner Garrick.
Is the applicant here? Would you please step up? Just for note, when you came to us with this project initially, I supported it. It's a beautiful building and it'll be a great asset to that part of downtown. And I also just approved the plat for that. If you don't get the incentive, will you continue with the project?
Likely not.
5-year incentive is going to stop you from investing $21 million?
It'll be important to get the building fully tenanted, and that front-end period will allow us the opportunity to do that.
I don't believe you. And this is one more example of people using the system that we have set up in place. It's our fault for doing it. I don't blame you guys for asking for it. By right, you should. I'm not done talking.
So, Mr. Chair,
Dave, hold on. Who has the floor at this point?
Can't insult.
Who has the floor at this point? Dave, if you have a problem, talk about it when I'm done. Yeah, I'm not done talking yet.
That's inappropriate to insult
I don't
somebody.
care what you think is appropriate or what's not. I don't work for you.
Wow.
Anyway, I don't blame you guys for asking for it. I would ask for it too if I was in your place. But I believe that a temporary small incentive would not preclude a $21 million incentive. This is not even $1 million incentive. This is not 1%. This is not 10% of your project. This is basically a contingency, which is why I said I don't believe that they would stop this building without the incentive. We're giving away free money. We need to move the incentive. We need to end the incentives, and we need to stop stacking incentives on top of each other. Now, Dave, have at it.
Commissioner Pepcorn.
Mr. Chair, first of all, the Renaissance Zone, it's phenomenal, the success over the past 20 years. And so to summarize it, they're going to spend $21.5 million, and after 5 years, they'll be paying property tax forever, and that will go to the city of Fargo and help reduce taxes for everyone. So it's, I do have to admit, I was totally wrong. I was totally against Main Avenue going from 5 lanes to 3 lanes. I thought that was, I guess I'm an old stick in the mud or whatever you want to call it, but I've been completely proven wrong because we've already had 2 large developments, and we thought it would take maybe 10 years to get a development. So it's just a phenomenal success. The other thing that's going to happen is if you look across the street, there's basically a vacant parking ramp that the city owns, and they're going to be using that for some of their parking, and so that's also great news for the city of Fargo. So arguing about the Renaissance Zone, man, I could do that all day long. I got lots of facts, I got lots of numbers, but I won't bore you. But there's very few government programs that I'm a huge supporter of, but this one has been a proven success since day one, and we're so fortunate. The city of Fargo, the downtown, has benefited, I think it was $300 and some million in increased taxes, and all that money, after the 5 years, they start paying property taxes at the full rate from then on forever. And so it's a great thing. And so, but once again, I will say that's offensive to have a city commissioner call a citizen a liar. That's offensive. And I don't know what we can do, but I won't stand for that. Thank you.
Censure me then.
I wouldn't waste my time.
Is there a motion?
Settle down. Commissioner Gary.
Speaking of the parking ramp that Dave's touting, that parking ramp has never paid taxes. There's not been a dime of that building that's ever paid taxes to the coffers of the city of Fargo. It went into a TIF, which is an incentive. And that went to a little bubble that we as a city took from the school board, from the park board, from the county, from vector control, from all the things you're supposed to be paying taxes for. We took that money and we spent it on whatever pet projects we decided we wanted to do, which, by the way, had nothing to do with police and fire, building roads, building sidewalks, building streetlights. Had nothing to do with any of that. So when you talk about these incentives and what a great job we're doing at those, we are wasting your money. We're stealing from the park board. We're stealing from all these places. The schools are more than 50% of your property taxes, and we are robbing them absolutely blind, and we're patting ourselves in the back about how great we're doing. Give me a break.
Commissioner Pepcorn.
Mr. Chair, so anytime you want to look at the facts, I have numbers that will back up everything we said, and we'll happily do it. Jim Gilmore's way smarter at the numbers than I am, but any citizen that wants to come and see the actual facts, claims from a clown, don't listen to him.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Gehrig?
No.
Preston?
Aye.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Yes. Item E, application for FA Entertainment Alcoholic Beverage License for Fargo Tea Sweet Shots to be located at 34 James Way. It's going to be continued to a meeting June 28th, 2021. Is there a motion?
Move to continue.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Steve, is that correct, that they want to continue it? Are we sure on that?
Yes, I did speak to the applicants. This kind of got caught up in our new liquor board being set up, and while that was being set up, we decided that the old liquor board shouldn't continue hearing items that were coming And so this was in the middle. They're not planning on opening until late fall, so this one was fine delaying it a little bit.
Roll call vote?
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Garrick?
Yes.
Preston?
Aye.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. Item F, hearing on a dangerous building located at 1648 8th Street, 8th Avenue South. Bruce Tarleson to explain.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Bruce Tarleson, Fargo Inspections, to bring you 34F and G. And these are both dangerous building cases. The first one is at 1648 8th Avenue South. In the front of your packet is a suggested motion. Consider waiting till the end. In case there's any testimony, I've not heard that there is going to be an owner present to speak at this hearing. This property is located in a predominantly residential neighborhood, approximately about 2 blocks north of Carl Benilson School. The house was constructed in 1924, and to our knowledge has always been a single-family home. This dangerous building case is similar to others in that it's due to dilapidation. And the other issue with this property tonight is ownership. There is a court action and proceedings are happening. I think they were completed as of Friday, and that will determine the true ownership. We're going to find out about that. We have given notices to both owners in this case. This property came to inspections as an action of a complaint back in May of 2020. There were more complaints until February 26th of 2021 when we received one of the home being abandoned. We placarded the home due to many issues at that time. This property meets 6 of 10 criteria in our dangerous building ordinance. And you'll see the timeline in your packet. We received notice of the condition through complaints. We provided for all required notices. We have done everything we can to notify all parties in this case. We've had active correspondence with the owner's spouse, and both the owner and the spouse are aware of today's meeting. The building was placarded on February 26th with the dangerous building notice as required. We've monitored ever since. Due to inaction by the owner, the inspection department had to secure the home on March 12th, 2021. Assessors have provided a statement of valuation to attest to the deterioration of the home. Services, to our knowledge, are still on at this property, and as soon as we are aware of ownership, we will verify that they are disconnected. In your packet, you'll find the pictures. And the structure is in its current condition due to neglect. There's been a lot of criminal activity at this home. There's various complaints of ordinance violations and illegal construction or work without permits. This property has received 17 calls for service to the police department over the past 2 years. And your action on this property will allow the owner until June 30th, 2021 to decide what they're going to do. They can either demolish or they're bringing this property up to code. Thank you for consideration. I'll yield the floor to see if their owner is here at this time.
Is there anyone here who wishes to speak to this dangerous building? Anybody who wishes to speak? Close public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve.
Commissioner Garrick?
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Garrick?
Bruce, is there any way this gets up to code by June?
Anyway, what?
That this building becomes up to code by June? Is that what you said? We have until June of this year to bring
Yeah,
it to
there
code?
is an appeal period and a period for them to take to county court. And then they still get a time period. It's like a month and a half after tonight.
Okay. The question, on the reports here, it says nature of call 1021. What does that mean? On page 74 of the agenda, but
On the calls for service,
yeah, it says 1021.
Chief,
Chief?
you know what 1021 is.
Mr. Chair, while he's coming up, can I just add a quick comment? So I was driving around this week and that pocket house, they haven't done anything on that thing, Bruce. And so I guess it's a little bit off topic, but there's pigeons roosting in the roof. And it's just so disappointing because they were here telling us, they were giving us a song and dance about how much success they were having. And literally it's been at a standstill. So it's just very disappointing. I'm sorry to get off topic, but I love that house, man, and they're not doing anything, so it's very sad.
And the
Okay, so
answer
the
is?
significant investigation is call by phone. So it's phone call back to the complainant.
So just someone complains, so you send an officer there basically?
Oh, we didn't send, I don't think we sent an officer, that we called the complainant back and handled it over the phone.
Okay, just curious. It's on there like 6 times, just curious what it was.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It was on there like 6 times, I just didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, and there could have been multiple calls, I imagine.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Preston?
Aye.
Gehrig?
Yes.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. Hearing and building located at 1418 First Avenue North. Continued from the 1/11/21 meeting.
So this case, 1418 First Avenue North. We did a presentation, or we submitted a presentation back in January. And we were all ready to bring it to you at that time. And the owner had taken out a permit to demolish the building. This property is in its current condition due to a fire that occurred on December 5th, 2020. The fire damaged almost the entire building. And we were going to bring it to you back in January. Due to the permit, we delayed until today. The permit was voided as of end of Friday. So the permit is no longer valid. This property is on First Avenue North, just west of University Drive. And it's a 19,200 square foot commercial building. The current owner purchased this property in 2009. And there were really no permits relating to anything prior to that on this property. Previous uses were storage and a woodworking shop. And I believe they were active up until the day of the fire. This case is a little different than others. It's the first commercial building that we brought to you. We've had other dangerous commercial buildings that we consider dangerous, but all the owners have worked with us to a resolution on those projects. So this is the first one you're seeing. The inspections department and other departments of the city have had various complaints on this property. And those complaints were grass and weeds, junk vehicles and parking issues. And the property has continued to have those issues for years and to this day. The property is in its current condition and it meets 10 of 10 criteria in the dangerous building ordinance. This building was equipped with a sprinkler system. The system had not been maintained and could not function as required during this fire. You see the timeline in your packet. We received notification of the fire on December 5th, 2020. We act as allowed and required by ordinance. We provided for all notices to the owner. The structure was placarded on December 9th, 2020, and we monitored ever since. A permit was written on January 8th to demolish a portion of the building. The permit was valid only till May 1st and has since been voided. The assessors have provided a validation on a statement of valuation and attest to the deterioration of the building. In your packet, you'll find pictures And the structure remains in its current condition due to the fire and inaction by the owner. We decided to take this action and would like to hear from the owner with a plan for the property. The deadline for owner for court on this action is approximately a little over a month, which is June 30th, 2021. And I believe I've seen the owner here, so I'll yield the floor.
Is there anyone present who wishes to speak to this?
Is it working? Okay. Okay, we took out the permit with the plan.
Could you just give the name, please?
Oh, Gary Reinhardt. Okay. The permit that we took out, I've been, to start with, I've been in contact with a fellow that does demolition. We had that together way back in December. I took out the permit. We figured could get it done by now. We worked along. We had a lot of salvage to take out of there. There was a lot of personal items. There was lots of gold, coins, artifacts, bronzes, and on and on. We had to dig a lot of it out. We hit cold weather. We kept working away at it. And then about the time we got ready to do it, the contractor had another job to do. And with COVID, everybody waits their turn. Every contractor's got all the work they would want to do, so you have to wait your turn. And we started about 2 weeks ago, probably 60% of what we were going to tear out is hauled out. Then we got a shutdown because we did not know we needed an environmental study. The study came out last Wednesday. I believe he was out there and took the samples. I said, when will they be back? He says, that depends on FedEx. He says, you know how they work. So we are waiting for that environmental study to be able to finish what we want. And in the meantime, there's developers, there's people looking at buying the land. You people will probably be involved in development of it down the line because it is an area that they do want developed. It's probably the best area to develop due to the space, the access, and the layout. So my intention is to tear down the damaged part that I took the permit out after I get the environmental report back. I can't do anything now. I'm just at a standstill. So my intention is to wait till that comes and see what happens. But like I said, there is developers, there's different people wanting to make it work. And it's a funny thing as far as the things people complain. Oh yeah, they do. But there's people out there at midnight. There's people out there at 4 a.m. all day taking pictures of all that stuff. They send those pictures all over the world. There has been people there analyzing, looking at that, people that are doing documentaries, people from California, people that immigrated. It's going all over the world. So to some, it's junk. To others, it's art. That's the front half. If you go to the back half, you come at midnight and the thugs will meet you. That's the other world of it, yeah.
Thank you, Gary.
And
so
my intentions is to
excuse me,
finish
sir,
it.
just a
Okay,
minute.
go ahead.
Can he continue with his tear down, or does he have to get a permit, or what does our action do? Does it allow him to continue to tear down?
No. If you act on my suggestion, we'll end up tearing it down.
Okay.
The issue I have was with the permit. The permit does not require the full demolition. We want the full demolition if that's.
And how about the environmental concern?
We take care of that when we do it.
Okay. Go ahead, Gary.
I would like to say, when I went to get this permit, I could have had for 6 months. We kind of agreed we could do it by now, And that's what they wanted. I should have made it 6 months, and I wouldn't be here today.
Okay.
You know, and I guess, folks, if that's what you want to do it. You know, do what you want. I'll go with whatever it is and do what I got to do. You know, I get kind of, now I can't figure out why this, I know it's bad, it's got to be tore down, I'm not arguing about that. But I'm wondering if all these other buildings that had fires in that that timeline or a year ago have all been tore down. I don't know if they have.
Okay. Thank you, Gary.
I think there's something else going on in this deal in my mind. And, you know, so I guess do what you got to do and then to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Is there anybody else public who wants to speak?
So,
Thank you, Gary. Any other comments? I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Commissioner Gary?
So just so we're all on the same page, Gary's not going to tear down, he wasn't planning on tearing down the whole thing, to your knowledge?
If he took out a permit, there's a lot of issues going on with the junk. He talks about the animals that are art. They're art in my eyes also. But it's the rest of the junk from there going south. So there's junk issues, there's other ordinance issues, there's junk on city property. So he could take out a permit to tear down the entire building tomorrow if he'd like.
Is that what he did with the first permit, though?
The first permit had a portion.
And that's your heartburn? That's why you're not allowing him to get.
He did not even demolish half of the portion. So that permit's no longer valid.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, it's a public safety issue too. If you've driven by there, there's a lot of, that's just not a safe place anymore. And like you said, there's people coming and going out of there. And I just think, and the neighbors on top of that, I would not, but the other thing I want to say is we also have had a fire on city property. And so we want to make sure that we're following the same rules that we're forcing our citizens to. So we need to make sure that we do the same thing. And can I just ask one more, can you, Bruce, talk real quickly about the pocket house? I was talking about that, and I know it's off topic, but to me, nothing's going on there, and that's not good.
Excuse me, Mayor, could we keep this germane to the motion and then?
Yeah, we can do it after
Let's
it
finish
gets
this
to
one.
this motion. Go ahead, Commissioner Strand.
No, I'm just wanting us to continue the
Oh,
discussion
okay.
relative to the motion.
Commissioner Gary?
The only thing I want to say is we got to be really careful about taking over property, right? This is public, or this is private land, right? So we shouldn't take it lightly that we're taking this person's land and doing what we want with it. So there'd be a really good reason. That's why I asked about the permit, right? So if we have an issue with the permit that he took out and he's not demolishing it in total or as fast as we want or things like that, maybe we allow the opportunity for them to work at a pace that's reasonable, but not necessarily on our timeline. Because again, this is not our land that we're taking over. This is someone's personal land. Like when we take over someone's home, that should be a very sensitive thing for us. I believe very strongly in property rights. I get that we need to demolish it, but are we being fair with the timeline? Are we being fair with what we're expecting? Like I said, this is not that long ago. December is not that long ago, right? And this is a big property. This is not a small area. So what I would hope is that if he is saying, and I don't know that he's saying this, but if he's saying he's going to do it, I say we give him time to do it. If not, then we need to do this. But if what I heard him say is that he was going to do it, then I'm going to let him do it, me personally.
Yeah, I might have misspoke a little bit when on the mayor's question. So he does have time. He can come in on a permit to tear down the entire building. And it's tear it down, level it off, make it grade, do it correct. That can happen. If he doesn't do that, then it's our choice after the deadline.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
If it's okay,
Roll
I'd like
call
to hear his
vote,
response.
please.
I would like to
Gary,
hear,
public session's over. We're just discussing it.
Mr. Chairman, call for the question.
Roll call vote.
Excuse me, could you repeat the motion, please?
I can read it.
That's the motion that.
The motion's up on the screen.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it, or can everyone read it? I think you can handle it.
We're okay.
Let's call the
Okay.
question.
It already has been called a question. Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Preston?
Aye.
Garrick?
No.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll come back at 6:16. We'll call the meeting back to order.
Roosevelt neighborhood.
Bruce, I'll have you come back up to the podium. There was a question about the pocket house, and you were going to explain that to us, remember? Suzanne, you'll be on just a minute. We're just going to finish on a pocket house.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. We have had some activity on the house. I believe the house has until July 11th to be presentable, and then they get 365 days after that to do the final product. We haven't seen any submittals on the final product yet. A lot of questions, issues still on the money, and I've had meetings with Don Morgan since then. It's still rolling, just haven't seen anything finite yet.
Could you just keep us informed of that as that goes along, then, Bruce?
I will do a report in July.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Pepcorn, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I apologize for that, and I apologize for going out of order, but I just think all of us have been following it, so thank you. And thanks, Bruce, for your excellent work and the update.
COVID-19 update, Fargo Cask Public Health update. Suzanne Schaefer is going to give it to us today.
I am. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Today, COVID results have Cask County at 197 active cases. The 14-day rolling average positivity rate is 4.65% in Cask County and 4.44% for North Dakota. Currently, there are 43 individuals hospitalized across the state, and deaths in Cask County are currently 205. COVID testing numbers for our area remain steady over the last couple of weeks. We continue to offer rapid Binex testing for the general public Monday through Friday at our static site location, along with PCR testing for long-term care and other priority groups. Case investigation and contact tracing efforts continue as public health measures, along with the continued recommendations of masking, physical distancing, avoiding large crowds, good hand washing, and staying home when you are sick. Fargo Cask Public Health continues on its COVID vaccination mission. Our twice-weekly COVID vaccine clinics have relocated to our main building at 1240 25th Street South, and our outreach to outlying communities started last week with Enderlin, with 4 other communities hosting upcoming clinics as well. As of yesterday, there have been 142,204 vaccines given in Cask County, and Fargo Cask Public Health has given 45,191 of those total doses. According to the DOH vaccine dashboard, Cask County has a 54.5% first dose coverage rate overall and a 48.9% fully vaccinated rate. Vaccines are available to anyone 16 years of age or over in our community, with many opportunities to receive vaccine. And for those individuals 18 and older who've been waiting for the one-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine, the pause has been lifted and the vaccine is once again available in our community. I encourage everyone to consider vaccination, as this is truly the best way to reduce further spread of this virus, including the variant strains that have been identified in North Dakota. Please do your research by seeking information from credible sources, visiting with your primary medical provider, and make your decision on vaccination an informed one. Thank you.
Any questions of any of the commissioners? Commissioner Preston?
Yes, Suzanne, this is Arlette. So as I understand that 54%, at least one dose provided, has probably gotten somewhat stuck. Is it not? Haven't we been at about 54 for a while here?
Yeah, you're correct. So today, actually, we reached out to the state because it looked like it had been there since like last Thursday, Friday, and the numbers had gone up for what vaccine we had given, the number of doses administered, but the percentage hadn't changed. And so after we had reached out, the state did send out a message that just said that they did something different with the reporting system, the NDIS reporting system, which increased the population in some areas. So the percentage they believe is correct, but our population or the number of people that have been accounted for our county is a little bit different. So I'm not sure if they included the 16 plus or if there was an adjustment in that fashion. That just came in very late this afternoon.
One more question, if I could.
Go ahead.
So Suzanne, can you give us a sense in the last week, how many vaccines have you done? Vaccinations?
So last week we had 2 clinics in the building. One of them we did about 475. One of them we did, I want to say around 360. And then we were in Enderlin where we did 18.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other Commissioner Strand?
Thank you, Mayor. Suzanne, I'm just curious about the incidence of variants, and if the people who have been vaccinated, who are still testing positive, are they getting exposed to the variant? Is that what's happening, or does it matter which strain they get exposed to?
You know, I'm not sure of that information. That'd be a better question for Brenton, the epidemiologist for our area. But I do know that the vaccine itself does show some where it can prevent the variants in individuals. So I'm not exactly sure if it's a variant strain they received or if it's another. I can't really tell you that information for sure, but I think that Brenton Niesmeyer would probably have better information on that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Thank you, Suzanne. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next person speaking on the FM flood diversion project is Joel Paulson. He's going to give us an update of where that is at. And we had a very good year with the legislative body, so we're pleased with that. And Joel's going to kind of tell us where we're at. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, members of the commission. Joel Paulson, FM Flood Diversion Authority. Just wanted to come tonight and just give an update. I know many of you are involved with the project, but we have had a lot of great successes and a lot of great activity over the course of the last few months. Principally, the largest accomplishment that we've had to date is the receipt of the $435 million from the state of North Dakota. That is money that is through a bonding bill. What it really does is it takes us out of the Resources Trust Fund, which I think is a very important thing for the city of Fargo to recognize and speak with other leaders across the state about. When our project was being funded through the Resources Trust Fund, it basically prevented or it maxed out the capacity of that fund and prevented other water projects across the state of North Dakota from moving forward. So by pulling out our project out of the Resources Trust Fund, it frees up those dollars for needed water projects across the entire state of North Dakota. So it really is truly a win-win situation. And the governor spoke during the signing of the bill, and he expressed how this is such a great fiscal conservative thing to move forward with, and with interest rates at record low levels, the ability for us to access that capital and pay it back through the legacy fund earnings. It was just absolutely an innovative way to approach this large mega project, which we're working on. Another item to just mention to the commission tonight, we are moving forward with procurement. We have received bids for the project, and we're currently reviewing those. Hope to be able to bring that forward within the next month. I know everyone's waiting on pins and needles, including myself, who has been intentionally removed from the selection until there's a final recommendation. So I know just as much as you folks know about where we're at with that. But it does appear that we'll be able to more than likely move forward with the project on time and on schedule. Along with that is going to be the closing of a $569 million WIFIA loan. WIFIA stands for Water Infrastructure Financing Act. And that is one of the largest EPA loans that was given out this last year, and we'll be closing on that once we have the selected proposer. So with the $435 million and the $569 million, together we have upfront ability to access $1 billion in capital. And we don't have to pay back that WIFI loan until after construction is complete. And so we'll have another 6 to 7 years of sales tax as well to fund our internal budgets and our annual cash budgets as we work with the P3. So bottom line is we're fully funded. All lawsuits have been removed. We have bids and we're moving forward with construction. The federal component of the project is coming in under budget, and they are currently on schedule. So A lot of good things to report to the commission tonight. I don't want to go too in-depth, but certainly want to allow some time if any of the commissioners have any questions for me tonight.
Can you just talk about the I-29 bid and contractor?
Yeah, absolutely, Mayor. So we just, the Corps just awarded a $67 million project to Industrial Builders, a local contractor here. They'll get started on the I-29 grade raise, which will raise about a 5-mile stretch of Interstate 29 down by the southern embankment to the Oxbow exit. Really will provide transportation during flood events while the project is in operation. So.
Any questions? Thanks for the update. Great work. That board is doing a great job in getting this thing moving forward. So we can hardly wait till we see those financial bids. Great.
Absolutely, absolutely. It'll be an exciting time and a lot of activity in this next month here. So.
And thanks, John Strand, for your work in getting the upstream people happy. And Joel says they're having just as many struggles figuring out how to spend that money, right, John?
Absolutely. And incidentally, I have been meeting with the Upstream Coalition, which is the nonprofit group that funded the Upstream JPA. And those are proving to be very constructive conversations that we're having. And so I'll continue the great work that Commissioner Strand started.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Ben Dow, recommendation to authorize the 2021 mosquito control agreement with Cask County.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. That is tough news to follow there. So I guess I hope I have just as good of things to bring forward, but probably don't. In front of you tonight, you have our agreement with Cass County Vector Control. It lays out the details of how the program moves forward and what they do for us as the mosquito season comes into play. They work as our agency that provides direction, provides influence, but does not provide the decision-making. The decision-making is made by the mayor and myself when we go through the process. And as we've gone through the last year and learned so many things, moving forward, I know in my mind I have a different time frame of when is a good time to spray and when it is not a good time to spray. And as we're working through the process, we are going to continue to act and treat with our larvicides, and that's going to be our main focus. And a lot of that, this contract is what that is placing emphasis on, is that larvicide out in the standing water and any ditches that we might have out there. This also contains information and language about if there is supposed to be ground control sprays of truck-mounted sprays. Again, that is a decision made by the city whether that takes place. Cass County Vector Control is simply working as that caretaker of if we want to move forward with that. And then same with the aerial spraying. So at this time, I'm looking for a motion to carry this forward and also taking any feedback or comments you might have as we move this along.
In your letter to the commission here, you say that the Fargo contract costs remain constant or consistent with the 2020 contract and no changes have been made. No changes means nothing in the contract is different at all from last year's. We're just doing the exact same things we did before.
So the contract, and then what I'm referring to in the letter, it's very short and sweet, as you can see, but it's referring to the dollar amounts. You know, it doesn't mean anything hasn't changed, but we haven't added anything to it. And to tell you the truth, the dollar amounts of what we spent on vector control have not changed since 2009. The contract has been the same, and so have the fees and billing. And so as we go through this, the dollar amounts vary from year to year, of course, on dry and wet cycles, but this is what we have as our standing order as we move forward.
Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask a
Can I
question.
get a motion first, please?
Oh,
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, now, go ahead.
So Ben, last night, or I don't know when it was, but Moorhead decided not to move forward with the aerial spraying. Is that correct? Do they do theirs through Clay County or?
No, they are under contract in the same manner we are with Cass
Okay.
County Vector Control. What they have done right now is they're waiting for their new Public Works Director to report back to them. What they're looking at doing is how they want to go forward with aerial spraying. We have already taken our contract forward with our aerial sprayer, and all that does is put us in line that we are on the plate if we want to so use that resource. It does not make us accountable or that we will do it, but it allows us to have that contractor available if something comes about and we want to use it. Moorhead, that is something they're trying to decide if they're gonna have that contract on retainer, basically. I would be very fearful of not moving forward with having a contractor lined up if something were to happen for a health risk, or we don't know what's gonna happen. So that contractor, I would say, would not be available if they wanted to call upon them.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just make a comment. The concerns I've heard have been certainly the aerial spraying, but also the ground level spraying. And it relates to people with chronic conditions mostly. Walk through how everything is communicated, and whether there's any kind of infiltration into people's homes.
So as we look at different types of spraying throughout the season, there's a lot of information that gets passed along to both me and the mayor from vector control and what our trap counts are doing and how they're rising or if they're falling or where we're at. So as we make decisions of whether we're going to do a ULV spray or an aerial spray, that all comes to play based on what we're recommending, based on what Ben is telling us, his team is telling us. So again, if we are going to do a ULV spray, which is the ground spraying, that has different options for people with health concerns. They can call out to Cask County Vector Control and ask that their area does not get sprayed. And so we do have areas within the city that do not get sprayed when we do a truck mounted spray because residents have raised concerns, and they've mapped that and they will not do that. Now, when we're going to do a spray, we go out and we put it through both our public information, it gets advertised, and then so does Cask County. And then they can sign up on Cask County Vector Control's website for information or notices when it's going to take place. So generally when we do that, we do between West Fargo and Fargo, trying to do it collectively because mosquitoes can migrate from location to location. So we try and team up with it and do it all as one. So that's how it goes out. Usually it hits all the local media releases and we send the information out when that's going to happen. But they can also sign up on the Cass County Vector Control site for notices if it's going to take place. Now, if we do an aerial spray, it's somewhat of the same thing, but we go through and usually about a week before we're going to do an aerial spray, that's when we really start chatting back and forth via email, and I plan to include all the commissioners in it. Please do not respond back to all, but I will include you all in this year as that is progressing. That's something we have not done in the past. It's just been the mayor and I.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just make one more comment, and you and I communicated a little bit about this, and that is there's usually, I think, two reasons that mosquito control is actually embarked upon. One is certainly nuisance. I mean, we all hate those little things. But the second is West Nile, and that is used so frequently, it seems to me, as the rationale. I do think that it would be important to have an epidemiology perspective at the table when you're designing the program for the year. Again, we've communicated by email. Have you been able to look at that possibility?
So that is something I'm working with Ben on, and that comes to how the Cass County Vector Control Board, what seats are available. And so in order to do that, we would be looking at creating a new seat, because right now there's 3 seats on the board. We probably look at adding 2 at that point, so we have a 5-seated board. But that's something that the city of Fargo doesn't control. It just can influence and provide.
However, we contract for this, right?
No, we do not contract.
We don't pay anything in.
No, not to the board, only for the services that they provide us. They're a service provider. Everybody used to have their own vector control groups within the city. Ours was under Dennis, and so back about 15 years ago, they combined the efforts under Cass County Vector Control, so to kind of make it more efficient. But they are just our contractor, is what they are. Cass County Vector Control is our contractor, and we pay them for our services.
But everybody is charged mosquito charge in City of Fargo. That's what we pay them out of.
That's what we pay out of. We collect $1 a month.
And the final decision you're saying earlier is actually between you and the mayor.
It is right now, whether to fly or no fly right now. And it is
Just
going to be
on the
100% the mayor's decision moving forward. I guess I'm looking for direction on how you would like.
Commissioner Pepcorn.
So, Mr. Chair, so Ben, the numbers, is it set like on an average year? Is that what the budget is? Because like, I guess my question is this year, obviously it's a dry spring, and so we're not going to have, if it continued like this, obviously you're not going to have the same pressures that you would. And the second part of my question is, I think it would be interesting to know, to me, doing this because it feels nice, that's not an, because it's a nuisance. I think we want to know what the health issues are and why we do it. To me, that's the reason we do it, not because of a nuisance thing. I think if it's West Nile, we need to know what are the numbers? How many people get West Nile in, just like COVID? What are the numbers? I think it would be good to know. And are there other issues? So anyway, I guess
So
to
the
follow
past
up on that.
president,
So Ben had a vector control meeting, public meetings, they had 2 of them, which are open for everybody to come and go through that. And we can show you the tapes on those, which people have talked about. It gives a lot of information about that. Commissioner Strand had concerns about humans, does it affect humans? And so Ben went through that and they did a big presentation. We're happy to bring that to you because that's exactly what was asked. Is it a nuisance or is it West Nile virus or is it what else? Why are we doing this? And safety concerns about what we're using for insecticide. Go ahead, Ben, I'm sorry.
so to back up a little bit, since I've been the director since 2010, I will say it's highly been regarded or highly put into place that it's been on nuisance level, on trap counts. It has been that way, and that was the way that we move forward based on the commission in the past. Now, if this is something we want to change moving forward, we need to work together to change that, and we can do that. And these are our dollars, we're controlling it, and we can just do larvicide. We can just treat standing water and stuff like that, but that's your folks' decision. That's not necessarily my decision. If that's what the commission wants me to do is move forward to make that change, that we only do it based on West Nile, we will make that change.
Commissioner Strand, I think, was next, and then Commissioner Gary.
Well, thank you. And, that's really throwing me a curveball that we might really change everything based on West Nile versus convenience, our comfort levels and nuisances. A question I would like to ask Ben is, after the late August, what was touted as the Monarch Massacre, and after your public meetings, you had 2 of them, one in Fargo, one here, and one on Moorhead's side. What did we learn from that, and what changed, and is it going to happen again?
So I think what we took away from that, what I learned as the Public Works Director, is that we have to be very careful amongst when the monarchs are migrating. There's also health concerns that right now, if you talk to the mosquito control agencies and what's out there in the products we're using, they're safe for health environment. They'll say they're safe for use in lice treatments. They're the same thing is sprayed on the food you eat every day. So I think there's something that we have to do more research based on that. But we've learned that this isn't a set it and forget it program. And nobody ever took it like that, but we need to start sharing a lot more of the information that we're getting throughout the year as our nuisance levels, as our risk for West Nile comes up. Generally, we start hearing when Grand Forks County has West Nile cases. That's when we start reacting and start moving towards our program shifting towards ULV spraying and stuff like that. So we're trying to react before it gets here, and we're trying to be proactive. But again, if we want to base it on when the cases start here, we can do that, but that's the commission's decision. That's not necessarily my decision as the employee. Direction was given back in the day when Bruce Furness was the mayor and Dennis Walker was in this position on how that wanted to go forward, and based on the nuisance level or the concern of possible West Nile.
Commissioner Gary?
Yeah, I just think we should be very careful about making wholesale changes to this program before we know everything. If you haven't spoken to Ben Prather, the Director of Vector Control, about these issues, I encourage you to talk to him. He's a very smart guy, very easy to talk to, and he breaks it down in a great way about what they're doing and why. They don't do it willy-nilly, right? It's not based on nothing. It's based on science. It's based on the best available information they have and best practices. And I have quizzed him on these things because of the exact thing you were talking about, right? So if you haven't spoken to him, I would encourage you to do so. He's very available, and he's willing to talk to anybody about these things. And if we're this concerned about how we're practicing, the aerial spraying and ground spraying and whatever, maybe we should start going to those meetings first before we make any changes. We don't have direct control over their board, but if we show up there and say what we want, I think we're their biggest customer, right? So they're probably going to listen to us if we want to make some changes. The people on that board are there for a reason. They're doctors, they're biologists, they're there for a reason. And I think we should trust them the way we trust Cass County Health in regards to COVID information. We should probably trust the experts in this regard too. So again, before we make any wholesale changes, I hope we take the steps to actually talk to the people who are making the decisions, and then we can give our input once we're as educated as we can be.
Mr. Chairman, if I could say one more thing.
Mr. Preston?
As I understand, the Vector Control Board is made up of people who are experts in insects and controlling insects. Is that correct?
So Dr. Mahoney our mayor sits on the Vector Control Board.
You do, okay.
So does an NDSU professor in
Who
insects
is-
and entomology.
Yeah.
And he's a professional. And then we have another doctor that's a doctor of dentistry that's done many papers and research on West Nile and items like that. He was a new board member last year based on recommendations brought forward. Clay Whittlesey from the Park District was the board member, longstanding board member before he retired.
So I would be more comfortable if, from a health perspective, somebody has actually reviewed the research that shows that this is not unsafe for people, and that it is not done from a chemical company's perspective, and that it is definitely not a health hazard. Now, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to do that, but I'd feel much more comfortable if that was done within this decision-making, within this board.
Correct. And what I'm saying is that the decisions come from the city of Fargo on what takes place with any ULV or aerial. And if the commission decides that they do not want to do any aerial or ULV, like Moorhead is looking at, we can do that. I think what we'll have to do to do what you are looking for and asking for is really look in and hire a consultant, a doctor, to look into it and search into that to get a non-biased opinion. I've met with different people amongst the community. One of the ones that I will say I've spent a lot of time communicating with and building a relationship with is Dr. Ron Miller. And he has agreed to work with me and look at the programs, and he has made some suggestions as we move forward, things we can look at differently. But I think without doing, I don't think anybody's going to do what we're asking for free. I think we're going to have to bring a doctor in under contract to really look at that and do an RFP for request for proposals or something of that nature.
Ron Miller's a pediatrician, is retired now, and he's given us excellent advice. We've had Ben Prather went all through this after the Monarch massacre and kind of has redone that. And I think what you're going to see this year in vector control is to be very thoughtful as we go forward and utilize it. We also don't want West Nile to come in here and have a big numbers. We've kept our numbers very low. So it's kind of balancing what's good. And I think Commissioner Strand, you've been very concerned on what it does to humans. But to Ben's point, we might bring an outside consultant in just to verify so the commission has more comfort with it. If that's what we need to do, we could do that.
I would like to thank Dr. Ron Miller too, with the time he spent educating me and time spent through our conversations. And he has agreed to look through the data with me as we move through this season and work together and provide input.
Much more thoughtful this year as we.
Then if that could be shared with us, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Roll call vote?
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Garrick?
Yes.
Preston?
Aye.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. You have application for property tax exemptions for improvements made to buildings. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Garrick?
Yes.
Preston?
Aye.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. Chief Zablowski, you're on once again to talk about body worn cameras. He got it in a late on Thursday, but it was intended to be at this meeting. And Chief, the only thing that stands be awesome being home at 7 o'clock is your report. So I just put that in there just so you know that we don't want long stories tonight, eh?
Agreed. I will be concise. So I just want to give the commission an update on what we've accomplished on our body worn camera program. Let you know what the program will entail in terms of what we get out of it, next steps, and then obviously seek your approval to make the purchase. So all these things right out of the gate have been accomplished. Right at the start, we've reviewed demos from 7 vendors. This was our body worn camera team, and I'll show you who's on that in the last slide, but that group did an excellent job. A lot of work in doing all of the research and processes that not only due diligence requires, but then also city process and requirements for requests for proposals. So you can see by the dates there that we moved along very expeditiously to get all of this done, leading to Finance Review Committee approval on April 26th And with some excellent negotiation by Michael Redlinger, we also achieved a 2.5% discount on the total price. So here's what we're getting. That's what the body cams look like. And I think going forward, as we get into our next steps, we'll have an opportunity for you to see these and touch them and things of that nature. But that's the Axon Body 3. This was unanimously the pick of the selection committee, both in terms of product and reliability. And they're really leaders in the field, as well as your ability to meet all of the requirements that we asked for. This is Axon data, just for your reference. Complaints down 88%. So this is departments that Axon has worked with. From personal experience, that is a pretty accurate number. Our complaints in Beloit went down 70-some% as soon as we started the body camera program. The use of force reduction from a national perspective, again, that's Axon data. In national data would say use of force goes down slightly, but not dramatically. However, the cameras offer the opportunity to capture the event and better understand either what happened. If something was wrong, we were able to take action, and if something was done correctly but misunderstood, we're able to explain that through and move on from there. So it's been pretty important with that. This aligns pretty closely with national data in terms of what the cameras do as well. Guilty pleas and officer court time reduced just by virtue of having many of these incidents on video. Along with the cameras, we get the Axon fleet. So currently our fleet has end-of-life dated video cam technology that does not have the audio. It's a different system. It sits on a server. We have a number of issues in terms of retrieving that evidence at times. So everything here will be on one platform and available on one cloud-based platform for evidence retrieval and review. The Axon Evidence, evidence.com, and that's a cloud system. It's CJIS compliant. There's no limit to what's on there, so we have plenty of space in the cloud for all of this video evidence. There's direct linkages for our city and state prosecutors to pull off the video that they need for certain cases or trials, etc. So we don't have to do necessarily all of that work. We will have some open records responses that we'll have to work on, but that is being addressed. Axon Interview. Our interview rooms are also on a separate platform currently, and we have the same issues there in terms of our sometimes ability to retrieve all that information. Again, it's in a different format. So all of this will be on one vendor platform and in the cloud and readily available. In addition, with the package, we're able to upgrade our tasers, which are nearing end of life. And then along with the upgrade, we get the training components. Actually, our officers will be able to, if you look in that little box, the guy's got the goggles on, we'll have the ability to train in a virtual reality setting, which is about as close to real life as you can get. And then all of the cartridges, replacement training tools, and instructor things that are needed to maintain a good tasers program come with the package. So there's a lot of benefits in the overall package. Next steps, subsequent to approval, then would be completing that purchase contract and ordering the hardware, receiving it, and then preparing our internal mechanisms. And these are dates that the vendor's given us. At the bottom there, estimated rollout, August 2nd. I guess experience-wise, it was sooner for us last go-around, I think, depending on the availability of hardware. And we recently checked with the vendor. I think August 2nd would be the worst-case scenario. It's likely that we'll get them out sooner, absent some other thing interrupting the flow. But those are our next steps in the process. Again, our body-worn camera team, you can see it was a group across the department, officers, detectives, supervisors. Deputy Chief Anderson was the chair. We have some civilian personnel on there as well, so they really did a great job, and they've got some work in front of them as well. So kudos to those folks. And then absent any questions, I would request that you approve the motion as submitted in your package to purchase the Axon OSP 7+ program.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any, Commissioner Strand?
Thank you. Chief, I'm just curious, you kind of touched on it, but how does this intersect with the media and the public's requests to access this information? I'm just curious how that will change or unfold through time?
Well, I don't know if it's a change in the way that they request it. So part of the reorganization plan includes the additional records person to work on video requests, open record wise. But there's also a redaction tool that comes with the Axon platform that helps in some of that redaction. They still have to review video for other CJIS content, but it's in terms of blurring people and doing things that are like across the board in a video. That redaction tool assists with that time. So again, we'd be able to answer the open record request and put it on some type of a media platform.
And if I might continue, would you explain the funding through COVID funds, how that's working through CARES Act?
So the funding is working through the CARES Act, yes, to create the system and pay for the system. I guess it's more of maybe a budget question. I guess I don't.
But that's how it's being funded.
That's how it's being funded, yes. So the money is available through CARES Act funding.
Isn't that something?
Commissioner Preston?
These cameras, how are they turned on? Do they have to be manually turned on?
Sure. So one of the things that we required in our RFP was that the equipment come with certain triggers. So we all know from watching how in some systems where you don't have triggers when officers are under stress or there's life-threatening situations, the last thing they're thinking about is pushing the button. So the triggers on this system, if an officer draws their pistol, their taser, takes the rifle out of the rack in the car, turns their lights on in the car, are all automated activations for the system. And it will also activate any officer's camera within so many feet. I think it's 20 feet. So as soon as something like that happens, one of those devices comes out or something of that nature, it's automatically triggered. And then in terms of policy, they'll be required to turn it on as they get upon location to any dispatch call, and there'll be a number of other components. So non-duress times, that's just going to be a habit for them to do that. And so we'll be working through the policy pieces here in the next couple of months, but the stress ones where there's an expectation from the public that we've got video of certain events, that's covered with the automatic triggering.
So yes, Commissioner Strand, this would have been a budget item, but with the COVID money, it's basically paid for money we got last year from the state, and it makes it a much bigger gulp of that 2.8 million. So we're very pleased about that. And plus, if you saw the taser, it's a different color. So it'd be hard to confuse for a pistol, right?
Yes.
And there's some other things that come with this that should make it much easier for our police force. And this is something we've been looking forward for a while, so. Any other comments? Roll call vote, please.
Preston?
Aye.
Garrett?
Yes.
Preston? Sorry, Pepcorn?
Aye.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. Any other business tonight? John, you're back from Florida. Do you have anything to tell us?
Well, I suppose I could have sung a out of tune happy birthday song to Ben Dow, but he's lucky today. I'll spare him.
Thank you, everybody. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We're adjourned.